Zumba Kovacs, a very big name you'll be hearing from this weekend because he is a man who's done very well after yesterday's qualifying session. Here we go then, carts onto the grid for the seniors, our first heat of the weekend, and the grid lines up as follows. It's going to be Zumba Kovacs to start from pole position in kart 244, the Hungarian doing a grand job yesterday to put the kart on the front row. Alongside him will be Felix Varga. Back on row number 2, we have the likes of the Finn Laurie Lepper. Alongside him, the Brit, the Frenchman, the Spaniard, Axel Charpentier, last year's junior champion, returning with us this year. Back on row 3, we then have the likes of Tamino Bergmeyer and Tommy Brining, a champion from 2014. Then to row 4, the Brit, Jonathan Hoggard, with a local lad, Carlos Saville Martin, alongside the Spaniard. Fifth row of the grid will then see Jordan Brown-Nutley, a name we spoke about last year as well, back for another season within seniors. He's got Max Timmermans, another man who's done very well in karting over the last few years. He's there on the outside of row number 5. Then to row 6, we have the likes of Harrison Thomas, with Clayton Ravenscroft alongside, an all-British, or Great British, row number 6. Then to row number 7 is going to be Luke Ibanez, the Spaniard, with Oscar Paloma Ortez alongside. Then on to row number 8, we're going to have the Italian Alessandro Massimo Trombelli with Zabo Baldassar alongside. On to row number 9 is going to be Juho Parvian and Camille Donix. Row 10 then sees Daniel Machacek and Hans Morin. On to row number 11 is going to be Ida Cohen, again back in seniors once again this year. He's got Patrick Rundqvist alongside. Then we have row number 12 is going to be Baptiste Moulin with Scott Simmons alongside. A little bit of a moment this morning to Scott in the warm-up, made himself seen across the dirt, but he is there on row 12. Row 13 then sees Joe Phillips, struggled with qualifying yesterday, but we'll see how he goes from the 13th row with Artzemi Kamenuk alongside. Row 14 then sees the likes of Alex Araya with Jason Lockwood alongside. Row 15 is headed by Max Pilker with Frank Laverne alongside. Row 16 is going to be Mario Novak with Joey Vorters, and row 17 is the likes of Mikkel Max and Dajus Dabezinskis to round out the 34 starters. A very compact and very big grid for the seniors this year. If you're watching on Telemundi Media, you can probably see an umbrella, and that means it is now raining here in Spain. If you're here at the circuit, you'll well and truly know that it is raining, but that does just put a slight element on this race to see how it's going to unfold. There are a few drivers hoping for wet weather, but they've now got their wish. But it all depends what tyres are on as well and how warm they can keep those tyres within this 10-lap race for the seniors. It's going to be exciting, I can guarantee you that. Let's see what's going to happen as the race is now about to get underway with Zumba Kovacs and Felix Varga on the front row. What a formation that is through the final corner. And the race now gets underway here in Spain. Down towards the first corner they go then for the first time. It's going to be Zumba Kovacs that goes into the lead, but who's going to get up into second place? Well, Laurie Lepper is going to be very greasy down there. Hopefully they'll all manage to get it through safely. There's one that has spun, but everyone apart from that is through nice and good. On towards the chicane they go for the first time. A few people just bumping and boring over there to try and get side by side, which they now have done. And let's see what happens. They work their way in towards the next few corners on this first lap. It's going to be then out front Zumba Kovacs, where he started on the grid. Laurie Lepper sits there in second place. Third place then jumping up the order. Is that going to be Felix Varga, or have we got someone else through from lower down? Yeah, that's going to be Tamino Bergmeyer again from the third row. He gets pushed wide though through the lights of turn number 9. Through is going to be Jonathan Hoggard from row number 4 up into now third place. So a great start there from the Brit as they work their way down the back straight for the first time. There's going to be a challenge for the lead here surely in towards the chicane for the first time to complete lap number 1. Not quite there. Looks like Zumba Kovacs has just about held on to it. Second place then for Laurie Lepper. Third place, as we said, for Jonathan Hoggard. Fourth place for Felix Varga, who started on the front row. And there's a change for second place. Jonathan Hoggard goes through. Again, as I said, from the fourth row, he is very much liking these wet conditions. Now, who can he take with him to try and challenge the man out front, which is Zumba Kovacs? They're going to be pushing hard to try and catch up here over the next 8 laps or so. Down towards turns 6 and 7 they now head. A long line starting to form in the wet conditions here in Spain. Not too bad at the minute. It looks like they've just held off, but there are a few spits and spots on the top part of the circuit. Doesn't seem to be hampering anyone too much as of yet. Zumba Kovacs still doing a grand job to lead the way, with second being Jonathan Hoggard. Third place for Laurie Lepper. Fourth place now for our front row starting man Felix Varga. And then to round out your top 5, Axel Charpentier done a fairly good job. He's dropped down from the start, but he's now gradually working his way back through the field up into 5th place by the looks of it. Not too sure where he is. There he goes across the line now. Yep, new car, of course, for him for this year, so slightly different colours. And Jonathan Hoggard has gone to the head of the field. He's got his way through from 7th up into the lead now. So great job there from Jonathan Hoggard in cart number 300. Managed to put himself ahead of Zumba Kovacs in cart 244, the red and white machine you can see on Telemundi Media. Then behind that in third place is still going to be... Nope, we've had a change because Felix Varga has now gone through into third. Laurie Lepper in the green and white machine is down into 4th place and 5th place. Almost with them now is going to be Axel Charpentier. Last year's junior champion is almost, as I said, with the top 4. He's going to be challenging for a move before too much longer. So let's see how he can do over the next few laps. Just to let you know what's happening behind, Tommy Preining leads the next group ahead of 205, which is Jordan Brown-Nutley. Also in there as well, you've got the likes of Luke Ibanez and Tamino Bergmeyer with Harrison Thomas round out your top 10 at the end of lap number 2. So that's how the top 10 look for now. Top 5 across the line on towards the next lap. Jonathan Hoggard still leads. Anyone looking for a move? Oh, did you see Zumba Kovacs there? Just caught the white line, which just gave him a little bit of a twitchy moment in towards the first corner, but he's managed to hold it ahead of the third place man, Felix Varga. And here now comes Axel Charpentier. He has gone through ahead of Laurie Lepper by the looks of it. So yeah, Axel Charpentier gets himself up into 4th position. A champion who knows what he's doing. That is good to see. So junior champion on his way now to try and catch back up with the top 3 in this race as they head their way down the short straight in towards turn number 9. Jonathan Hoggard just doing enough here to keep himself ahead of those 2 behind, and maybe, I don't know if I can say this, but maybe just now starting to eke out a slight gap over those behind him as well here. But let's see if Zumba Kovacs and Felix Varga can work together to close down the gap on the leader. If they work together, it will happen. If they start battling, they're just going to drop into the clutches of those 2 behind there. So Axel Charpentier now 4th, Laurie Lepper 5th. And then as you can see on your cameras as well, or your screens, that the gap between 5th and 6th is just starting to come down as well there. So we'll watch out for our 6th place man, which is Luke Ibanez, starting to catch up with those ahead. Tommy Preining now down to 7th position. Jordan Brown-Nutley into 8th. 9th place for Tamino Bergmeyer and 10th place for the Italian, who's made up 5 places since the start, Alessandro Massimo Trombelli. So watch out for 219 as well. It's getting very congested behind the top 5 or 6. Just seeing that out of the commentary box window, but nothing major to talk about for now. Still focusing on Jonathan Hoggard, who leads the race. Axel Charpentier there in 4th place. Can't quite catch up with the top 3. He's trying his best, but he's being put under a lot of pressure from Laurie Lepper for now. Laurie's going to look for a move in towards the right-hander at turn 12. No way through as of yet, but let's see if Laurie can just push now Axel Charpentier along the main straight to try and catch up with those 3 ahead. Head down for many of them as they work their way in towards the first corner once more. Zumba Kovacs not really thinking about making a move. He's close enough to do so, but he doesn't want to try anything too stupid in the first heat of the day here for the seniors at the Valencia circuit. Jonathan Hoggard got it covered for now, but of course one slight mistake, especially in these slipperier conditions, it could put it all in a little bit of a melee for you. So Jonathan Hoggard now just trying his best to keep out in front ahead of Zumba Kovacs and Felix Varga. But watch out for Felix, because as we saw in the previous race, the man in 3rd place is the man who normally makes all the moves and likes to put himself into the front men. But for now, they're just sitting line astern, waiting for the race to unfold here. Axel Charpentier getting a little bit of a bump into the final corner there from Laurie Lepper, but no change in position amongst the top 5. Here now comes, though, the change for 2nd, because Felix Varga just briefly thought about going down the inside of Zumba Kovacs, who in turn looks for a move on Jonathan Hoggard. Everyone goes slightly wider into that first corner. The leader was the widest, trying to look now maybe for some grip out there, because the rubber that has been laid down this morning in warm-up and the 2 previous heats does mean there is going to be a little bit of rubber out there on the outside of the track, which will help you in these slightly greasier conditions. Quick lap of the race, by the way, has now gone to the Italian, Alessandro Massimo Trombelli, with a 57.255, the man who sits down in 9th position. So let's see if he can work his way through, trying to catch up with Tommy Preining and Jordan Brown-Nutley, who have, by the way, just switched positions on that previous lap. So both of those now in a different order. 7th and 8th places they're still vying for, though, as they work their way through turn 11 on towards the back straight. Top 3, meantime, are again nose to tail, now being joined by Axel Charpentier and Laurie Lepper. It's a 5-way train for the lead. On to lap number 7 we go. In fact, lap number 8. 7 laps have now been completed. Down towards the first corner once more. Lap times, as we said, down into the 57-second mark for now. around about what they were doing in qualifying, to be fair. Not too far off that. So some good race speed being shown by our front runners. Jonathan Hoggard still leads ahead of Zumba Kovacs. Felix Varga third. Fourth place, never closer. Axel Charpentier now goes to third place, but he makes a slight mistake. He pushes Felix Varga wide, and in doing so, Laurie Lepper gains 2 positions. So Laurie goes through now into third place. Axel Charpentier holds on to fourth just about, but they've now all dropped into the clutches of those behind. So Luke Ibanez is now with them, Jordan Brown-Nutley, Massimo Trombelli is there, and Tommy Preining. So they're going to be fighting their way through and trying to hold on to a top 10 finish within this race. Just had a caption on the screen there to say Joe Phillips was now the quickest man on circuit with a 57.142, but he's way down in 24th place. Just wondering if he was caught up in some dramas at the start. I don't think he was, because he's only 10 seconds off the leaders. Just think he's been kind of bumped down the order. Of course, Joe Phillips started 25th in this race, so he's moved up 1 position. He's now moved, in fact, up 3 positions into 22nd. So that's not too bad. He's going in the right direction, which is always a positive thing. Meantime, back to the leaders. Jonathan Hoggard is still out front, heading the field from Zumba Kovacs, who is now 0.3 of a second back. Laurie Lepper sits in third place. And this is the fight we can see now for, just saw briefly there, a fight for 4th, 5th, and every place on backwards. By the looks of it, you've got Felix Varga trying to recover through the field. Tommy Preining up there in 7th place as well. There it goes through your screen, on towards the back straight. And that is a good 6-cart train for the minute, just behind Axel Charpentier and Luke Ibanez. As I said, Tommy Preining there. Clayton Ravenscroft has come through the order as well. So he's embroiled in that slight battle across the line. And there's drama on the back straight there we just saw. Try and catch a glimpse of who that may have been. But for now, we are on to the last lap. So we're going to watch Jonathan Hoggard to the checker flag. And the car we had off on the back straight was 242, which was the kart of Hans Morin. So Hans Morin had a slight mistake there, back on his way. No drama seems to have been done to his kart. But now on the last lap, as we work our way through with the leaders, down towards turn number 9 for the last time, Jonathan Hoggard has done a tremendous job to come from 7th on the grid up into the lead. He's going to hold on to it by the looks of it. He's got 2 more corners to go now, that being at turns 12, and then of course the final chicane at turn number 13. Can he get the job done? I think he can. He's managed to open up a nice gap on this last lap. Down towards the final corner then comes Jonathan Hoggard on for his first win this year in the senior class. First heat for him. He takes his first victory. Well done to Jonathan Hoggard. He comes through 0.4 of a second ahead in the end of Zumba Kovacs, the man who qualified on pole position. Don't think Zumba will be too disappointed with a second place result. At least he remained inside the top 2 places. Laurie Lepper comes through in 3rd place. That's exactly where he started. And Axel Charpentier managed to fight his way back through into 4th as well. But a great drive from Jonathan Hoggard. His lap time in the end was a 57.369. So only a couple of tenths off the quickest, which in the end was set by the Spaniard by the looks of it on that last lap. Carlos Saville Martin, a 57.101. So well done to him, finishing down in 18th place. And there are your results then from that senior class. Jonathan Hoggard, your winner by 0.4 of a second. Zumba Kovacs for KMS Europe finishing 2nd. Laurie Lepper, the Finnish racer, comes through in 3rd. 4th place for Axel Charpentier. 5th place was then Felix Varga, after getting slightly ousted on the last couple of laps from home. 6th place went the way of the Spaniard Luke Ibanez. 7th place for the Italian Alessandro Massimo Trombelli. Then you had Clayton Ravenscroft up into 8th place. Tommy Preining finished down in 9th after a good start from row number 3. 10th place went the way of Jordan Brown-Nutley. Then behind that we had the likes of